There is a specific, chilling kind of silence that haunts the corridors of Buckingham Palace when the weight of the past begins to crush the promise of the future. And for the House of York, that silence has reached a crescendo that even the thickest stone walls of Windsor cannot muffle. Hello everyone, my name is George, your host on Crown Tea. What will happen to the York sisters if eventually Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is removed from the line of succession? Before we proceed, the seismic shifts threatening to reshape the lives of Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, do make sure you are subscribed to Crown Tea for your essential royal updates, as we are committed to providing you with the most authentic and insightful intake on the firm. It is wonderful to have you with us. The atmosphere within the royal fold has turned decidedly frigid following the arrest of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and the recent unsealing of millions of documents connected to the Jeffrey Epstein case, a development that has sent unprecedented shockwaves through the very foundations of the palace. While Andrew has consistently and categorically denied all wrongdoing, the public eye has inevitably turned toward his daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, who now find themselves navigating a legacy that is increasingly difficult to reconcile with their roles as members of the royal family. According to these public documents, the sisters have been mentioned in the Epstein files, with one specific email reportedly suggesting that the princesses accompanied their mother, Sarah Ferguson, to a meeting with Epstein shortly after his release from prison following a conviction for soliciting a minor. It is absolutely vital to clarify, however, that there is no suggestion whatsoever that Beatrice or Eugenie have committed any crimes. They were merely 19 and 21 years old at the time of this alleged post-prison lunch, appearing as young women perhaps caught in the wake of their parents' complex social circles. Nevertheless, the optics in the modern era are unforgiving, and the situation has escalated to the point where Parliament has officially opened a debate on whether to remove Andrew from the line of succession.
Of course, the British media are also reporting Andrew's daughters are set to hold crisis talks this weekend with the King. Aside from the obvious emotional impact on the princesses, I can't imagine what they would be going through, but what does Andrew, their father's arrest and potential conviction mean for them?
This legislative scrutiny follows investigations into allegations that the King's brother shared confidential government documents with the disgraced financier during his 10-year tenure as a United Kingdom trade envoy. Naturally, this leads us to the burning question of what becomes of the daughters when the father's house begins to crumble and whether their constitutional rights are destined to be collateral damage in this legal storm. According to Dr. Craig Prescott, a leading specialist in United Kingdom constitutional law who spoke with The Express, the princess's birthrights remain relatively secure for the moment because Beatrice and Eugenie exist in the line of succession in their own right, independent of their father's standing. Dr. Prescott noted that members of Parliament typically aim to do the least amount of legislating possible when it comes to the monarchy, suggesting that any legal removal would likely focus solely on Andrew Mountbatten Windsor rather than extending to his offspring. However, legal security does not equal social or professional immunity, and royal expert Hilary Fordwich has suggested that the sisters are effectively caught in the crossfire of a reputational battlefield. Speaking to Fox News, Fordwich observed that while both daughters have remained remarkably loyal to their parents, they now face what she describes as an untenable choice, whether to prioritize salvaging their own futures or remain tethered to a York name that has become, in her words, increasingly toxic. The media coverage has been relentless, with outlets across the globe analysing every public appearance for signs of distance or solidarity, yet the princesses are reportedly and understandably distressed by the revelations contained within the Epstein files. For Beatrice and Eugenie, who have spent years carving out professional lives outside of the sovereign grant while still supporting the king, the path forward requires a level of strategic navigation that would baffle even the most seasoned diplomat. Fordwich predicts that we will see a more visible and strategic distance created between the sisters and their parents in the public eye, even if they continue to offer private support behind closed doors. This is not merely a story of titles and line of succession rankings, it is a profound study in celebrity culture and the heavy burden of hereditary responsibility in an age of total transparency. As the King and Prince William look to a slimmed-down, modernized monarchy, the tough decisions mentioned by insiders suggest that Beatrice and Eugenie may have to work twice as hard to prove their value to a public that is increasingly skeptical of the shadows cast by the previous generation. The broader implications for the monarchy are significant, as this case highlights the delicate balance between family loyalty and the preservation of the institution itself. While the legal experts suggest their titles are safe from a parliamentary perspective, the court of public opinion is a much more volatile arena, where the rules of evidence are often replaced by the weight of association. As this situation continues to evolve, the sisters find themselves at a crossroads, where they must decide how to define themselves outside of the York narrative. It is a high-stakes game of royal survival that reminds us all that even a princess must sometimes choose between the crown she was born with and the reputation she must build for herself. We will be watching closely as the palace navigates these murky waters, but for now, the future of the York sisters remains one of the most compelling and complex chapters in the ongoing saga of the British royal family. Would you like me to look into the specific parliamentary procedures required to change the line of succession and how they might impact other members of the firm?